जय श्री श्री गुरु गौरांग गंधा गिरिधारी श्री श्री राधा विनोद बिहारी जू की जय। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मरन मोहन जू की जय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपार शुतर शुत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपार शुतर शुत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपार शुतर शुत शिशुमार भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपार शुतर शुत शिशुमार भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपार शुतर शुत शिशुमार भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्याल्प विश्व शुद्ध सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। नित्याल्प विष्णु वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबूजी महाराज की जय। श्री रूपानु गौरी गुरु वर्ग की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ शारद गोसाई प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जय। नाम अक्षय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल ब्रज मंडल धाम की जय। सब रत्नगिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधे कुंड श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योग माया की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। जय श्री भजन रहस्य की जय। श्री सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। जय श्री चैतन्य शिक्षाष्टक की जय। जय श्री सच्चिनंदन गौर हरि की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। Hare Krishna. Okay, let's do the Mangalacharan. One second. अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय प्रियात्मने गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। श्री सिद्धांत सरस्वती विदितो गौरीय गौर्वान्वये भातो भानुरिव प्रभात गगने योगोरसंकीर्तनाय मायावारतिमिङ्गिलोदरगतान् उद्धृत्य जीवानिमान् कृष्णप्रेमसुधाब्धिकाहनसुखं प्रदत्प्रभुं तं भजे। वन्दे भक्तिविनोदं गौरशक्तिस्वरूपकं भक्तिशास्त्रज्ञसम्राजां राधारससुधानिधिं नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगपरायते श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। वृषभानुसुतान्वितवामतनु यमुनातटनागरनन्दसुतं मुरलीकलगीतविनोरपरं भज गोद्रुमकानन कुञ्जविदुं स्मर गौरगदाधरकेलिकलं भव गौरगदाधरपक्षचर शृणु गौरगदाधर चारुकथां भज गोद्रुमकानन कुञ्जविदुम् तवैवास्मि न जीवामि त्वया विना इति विज्ञाय देवि त्वां नायमां चरणान्तिकम् भक्त्या विहीना अपराधलक्षाय क्षिप्ताश्च कामादितराङ्गमध्ये कृपामयि त्वां शरणं प्रपन्ना वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम् भज श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे श्रीस्वरूपराय सङ्गहर्षशेषघोषणं शिक्षणाष्टकाख्य कृष्णकीर्तनैकपोषणं प्रेम नाममात्र विश्वजीवनैकसंभरं प्रेमधाम देवमेव नौमि गौरसुन्दरम् प्रेमोर्भावितहर्षैर्योद् वेगधन्यार्तिमिश्रितं लपितं गुरुचन्द्रस्य भाग् भाग्यवर्भिर्निषेव्यते प्रभुर्शिक्षाष्टक श्लोक जय पौरे शुने कृष्णे प्रेम भक्ति तार बारे दिने दिने Whoever reads or hears the Lord Shikshashtak verses will find their prem bhakti to Shri Krishna growing more and more each day. Shikshashtaka chinta koro smarana kirtan krame ashtakalak seva habe uddipan. Contemplate the Shikshashtak and engage in smaran and kirtan. Gradually, service throughout the 8 divisions of the day will be awakened. Sakala anartha jabe, pabe prem dhan, chatur varga falgu pray, habe adarshan. And by continuing to contemplate the Shikshashtak and engaging in Smaran and Kirtan, then all anarthas will disappear and you will attain the treasure of Prem, Prem Dhan. The 4 aims of worldly life will appear trivial and fade from view. Jai Śrī Śikṣāṣṭaka ki Jai. Cheto darpana marjana bhavamaha tavagni nirvapanam Shreyakairava vitaranam Vedyavadu jivanam Anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam Purnamritasvadanam Sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrarpita Niyamita Smaranena Kala Etadrishi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Mamapi Turdaiva Medrishamiha Janinaruraga Trinarapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sada Hari Na dhanam na janam na sundarim Kavitam va jagarisha kamaye Mama janmani janmanishvare Bhavatar bhaktir ahaituki tvai. Ainandatanu jakinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavam buddho. Tava para pankajas tadhuli satrisham vichintaya. Nayanam galarashudharaya vadanam gadgadharuddhaya gira pulakarnichitam vapu kada tava nama grahane bhavishyati. Yugaitam nimeshena chakshusha pravrshaitam shunyaitam jagat sarvam govinda virahena me. Ashlishavapararatam pinashtumam adarshanan marmahatam kurutuvam yatha tatha va vidadhatulam pato mat prananatastu sa evana param. Jai Śrī Śikṣāṣṭaka ki jai. That's strange, there's nobody here yet. Usually there's quite a few people by now. Let me check YouTube and Facebook. One second. Okay, I see there are 4 devotees there on YouTube and Facebook. If you write a comment, I'll see who you are. I'm guessing Indira Mataji is there, and Raseshwari Mataji, and Ganga Mataji, and also all devotees, Rohini Nandan Prabhu, of course. Oh, Haribol Vidyalala Sadidi. Hare Krishna. Okay, now I don't feel like I'm alone anymore. As long as I see one comment. Okay. Yeah, it's strange though. Usually there are more people on Zoom by now. Um, all right, so Dandavat Pranams, everybody watching, all those people I just mentioned, and also devotees watching in the future, like Jayadev Prabhu, Shachi Devi, Revati Didi, Haribol. So today we are reading the final chapter, sorry, the last 3 verses. Well, actually, there's the very last Lila verse, which we're not going to go over today. So, but almost the last 3 verses of the first chapter of the Pratam Yam Sadhan of uh, Bhajana-rahasya. So let's see. Let me just find our spot. And these 3 verses, where are they? I think it's 35. Yeah. Okay, so these 3 verses, this is how Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur culminates this first chapter. What I've noticed in this first chapter of Bhajana-rahasya, Pratam Yam Sadhan, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, his verses fit into, I don't know, this is just off this, I'm not saying anything authoritative here, and I might not be complete, but it seems to me like there are 4 types of verses. Well, no, let's say 3 types of verses. There are the verses that are giving, like, glorifying, and also pranam, like those sometimes it's just glorification, sometimes it's a glorification with pranam. And then there are verses, like, for example, this first verse and the second verse. And then sometimes there are verses which explain the exclusivity of there's no other process. This is the process. And like for example, after he gives the verses from, well, first Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he gives the verse which explains what this Nishanta means for us conditioned souls who are just beginning the process. This Nishanta is, the end. It's the end of night, and then Harinam, which is like a sun, begins to rise within the our heart, and the sky begins to brighten. So this starts dissipating this ignorance. This is namabhas. Even namabhas starts to dissipate the darkness of ignorance. Um, so then after Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives, and this is a pranam mantra also. Well, actually no, it's an instruction mantra. That's the third type. Sorry. Let me start over again. There are three categories of verses. One is the glorification verse, which is also the pranam verses, glorification and pranam. Then there are the verses that say that there are no other way, and if you try to follow any other process other than Harinam, then you're wasting your time. This is the path for all the jivas of Kali Yuga. There's no other path for attaining the ultimate destination. And then the third type of verse are verses that give instructions. And I think probably all the verses in this Pratam Yam Sadan can fit into one of those three categories. So pranams are glorification, the exclusivity of this process, and instruction, how to follow it, how to engage in Nam Kirtan. And so, and sorry, so what I was doing, like talking about the exclusivity, there after Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives this first verse of Shikshashtakam, Cheto Darpanamarjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam. Then he goes through Cheto Darpanamarjanam, cleansing the mirror of the heart. And he explains the most effective means to do that. He quotes Srila Rupa Goswami's Krishna Namashtak. O Nam, who destroy numerous sufferings of those who have taken shelter of you. O embodiment of delightful transcendental bliss. So this is the way to cleanse our heart with this Nam, which destroys all numerous sufferings, and it's the embodiment of transcendental bliss. This is the cleansing method. And then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur goes through the other methods that people use to cleanse their heart, like Ashtanga Yoga and Jnana Karma. And all these verses here are showing how no other means is effective for like Harinam is. So it's exclusively Harinam. Also before this, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains how Archan is, before he gives this verse, how Archan is not effective, like Smaran and Kirtan, and how Kirtan is far superior to Smaran, because all you have to do is move your lips and then it's performed. So many of these verses are showing how Harinam is the exclusive means for attaining perfection. So the reason I'm mentioning all of that is because these last three verses here, verses 30, text 35, 36, and 37, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives those three types of verses. So it's kind of like summarizing. I've noticed with at least with this Pratam Yam Sadhan, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur would very often start with a point, and then he would circle back and mention that point again, like conclude with that same point. So it's very complete. It's like he closes off the loop by revisiting the point that you mentioned at the beginning. And like he did that with his explanation of uh of the first verse of Shikshashtakam. He started with verses from Krishna Namashtak, and then he concluded that with more verses from Krishna Namashtak. He also started that section by talking about the cleansing method, Cheto Darpanamarjanam. And then when he's explaining the last one, the seventh excellent results, Sarvatmasnapanam, then he went back to explaining Cheto Darpanamarjanam, how this is, and he related Sarvatmasnapanam to Cheto Darpanamarjanam. So he's always like bringing a conclusion, bringing it back full circle. And so he's doing that with this verse with these three verses here, those three types of verses are all represented. So the first one is Harer Nama, Harer Nama. That's the um, the exclusivity one. This how Nam is the supreme method and there's no other way. And this is like the most strong verse ever to make that point. And then the other type of verse where he's explaining the method, the process, instructions, practical instructions, how to chant Nam. And then he concludes with explaining the glories of Nam and how this is the only, actually, both these verses are about the exclusivity of Nam. So yeah, I guess these would both fit into that category. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare, and then this last verse here, Etavan eva lokismin. Only, actually, let's just read the translation for these three verses, and then we'll go through them more in depth. So, Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam eva kevalam, kalo nasteva, nasteva, nasteva gatiranyata. In Kali Yuga, there's no other way for the living entity than chanting the holy name. It's only, there's no other way, there's no other way, there is no other way. No other way but Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam. Can't make the point stronger than that. Just mention it 3 times, everything. Okay. And then he gives this verse from the Bhagavan Nam Komudi, 3rd chapter. This gives very practical instructions. We'll go through this in depth. But I'm just giving an overview for now so that we get the flow. So if your mind is not absorbed, we'll read the Sanskrit after also. If your mind is not absorbed in the name of Sri Bhagavan-achyuta, then day and night, without shyness, chant those principal names that are endowed with rati, such as Radharaman, Rajavallabh, and Gopijana-vallabha. Minimize sleep, eat moderately, and proceed on the path of spiritual truth with a peaceful mind and a disregard for worldly things. Okay? And then this is the last verse. Srimad Bhagavatam states, only the worship of Bhagavan Shri Vasudev, performed through Nam Sankirtan, is called Bhakti Yoga. This alone is a supreme Dharma for the living entities. So really emphasizing that same point and how this is the way for everybody. This isn't just a really good path but this is the only path that is meant for, it's the Dharma. It is the eternal occupation for every single living entity. It is what they're meant to do. It's like what we're made to do is engage in this Nam Kirtan. So it's the Parama Dharma. It's the supreme Dharma for this, especially for this age of Kali. Dandavat pranams Champak Mataji and Pujumna Prabhu and Mantramurti Mataji. Just checking YouTube and Facebook again. Did anybody else join? So far, only Vidya Lala City wrote a comment. All right. So now let's go through these last 3 verses more carefully. So Brihan Naradiya Purana 38, 127 states, Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nameva Kevalam, Kalo Nasteva Nasteva, Nasteva Gatiranyata. In Kali Yuga, there is no other way for the living entity than chanting the holy name, chanting the holy name, chanting the holy name. There is no other way. There is no other way. There's no other way. Both things for emphasis 3 times. It's Harinam, it's Harinam, it's Harinam, and only Harinam, Kevalam, only Harinam, only Harinam, only Harinam, and there's no other way. There's no other way. There is no other way. So just in case it wasn't clear, after this entire chapter, which was explaining the glories of Nam, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives the most strong possible verse to emphasize that this is the only way. And now he writes this Bengali verse. One second. Anya dharma karma chari hari naam sar kali juge taha bina gati nahi aar. So now he says, chari, I give up anya dharma and anya karma. I give up all other forms of religion, of practice, any other duty. Dharma means all those things. Dharma is an untranslatable word, but yeah, all other dharmas and all other karmas, all other activities. Chari, I give it up for Harinam is the sar, is the essence. Anya dharma, karma, chari, Harinam sar. Harinam is the essence. It is the, what is it? Be all, end all. Kali Juge Tahabina Gati Nahi Ar. Kali Juge, in this Kali Yuga, Tahabina, without Harinam, Gati Nahi Ar. Um, there's no other way, there's no other path for attaining perfection. There's no other goal, there's no other destination. There's no other way to achieve the supreme destination but through this Harinam. Okay, so now text 36. The Bhagavan Nam Komudi, third chapter states, Naktam Diva Chagatabhir. Sorry, what's the meter for this? Okay, got it. Naktam Diva Chagatabhir Jita Nidra Eko Nirvinna Ikshita Pato Mita Bhuk Prashanta Yadyachute Bhagavati Swamano Nasajjen Namani Tadratikarani Patir Vilajja. If your mind is not absorbed in the name, whatever. If your mind is not absorbed in the name of Sri Bhagavan-achyuta, so what's that? In the Sanskrit it says yadi, that means if achute bhagavati swamano nasajjan. If swamana, if your mind na sajjan is not, in the translation, what does it say? If your mind is not absorbed, sajjan. Interesting. And we saw this word before in a previous verse. I remember, nasajjate mano. What was it? Sajja. Yeah, see, look at this. This verse is also here. Nayat puna karmasu sajjate mano. So this sajjate, sajjan, means, if I remember correctly, we looked it up and it means to be attached. It means attached, or what were some of the other synonyms we looked up? Forgot. But here it's absorbed. That's fine. So if your mind is not absorbed or it's not fixed, I think fixed was another one, or attached to the name of Sri Bhagavan-achyuta, Achyute Bhagavati, then what do? We've been hearing all these instructions about the glories of the name, how this is the only way, and so many, and like just so many things to make us excited about chanting, right? This whole chapter has just been filled with things to make us excited about chanting. But even after all that, and even we know that there's no other way, this is the topmost thing, this is the most juicy, wonderful medicine. It's not medicine, it's just nectar. But even after all that, we're still struggling. I know I've heard all the glories of the holy name, and I'm still chanting and I can't focus my mind. What's the deal? If it's the most glorious, most wonderful, juicy, delightful thing, why is it so hard for me to concentrate my mind on it? And why it's Krishna himself? Why does it seem to not have any power? Even when I try, it doesn't seem to work. So what's the reason? What do I do? What do I do from here? So don't be helpless. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives the answer right at the very end. He says, what do you do? If your mind's not absorbed in the name of Bhagavan Achyuta, then day and night. Naktam diva. Naktam means day, night, and diva means day. So night and day, without shyness. The word here, it comes at the end. Vilajja. Vilajja means without shyness. Chant those principles. And what does that mean, without shyness? Means, yeah, without shyness. We shouldn't be ashamed of, we shouldn't try to hide that. We're just without shyness, just chant. I don't know. I'd like to hear if anybody has any other insight to. But without shyness, chant those principal names that are endowed with rati. So namani is the plural of the names. Chant the names. Pated means to chant. Chant the names of Vilajja without shyness. Namani, those names, which are Tad Rati Karani. Those names which are endowed with Rati are also which, I think this is a causative, right? Rati Kar, I don't know. I think this might be also those names which inspire Rati, which, where's the Bengali? One second, I just want to see the Bengali. Uh, I don't know what happens to, there it is. So I just want to see how the Bengali translates this. Rati Karani. Rati Kar Tadiya. Hmm. Okay. Actually, let's look at Bhaktivinoda Thakur's explanation. Um, Sorry, guys. As you know, this is my personal, this is my personal study made public. So that's why I always stop and look at things. Okay, so Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Krishna Rati Uddipak Nam. So the names that stimulate Krishna Rati. Yeah. So okay, so chant, pated, vilaja without shyness, the names of Achyuta Bhagavan that inspire, that stimulate this rati for him. So we don't we and that's why that's an indirect way of referring to the 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 mukyanam, the primary names of Krishna, especially of Krishna and Vraj, but all names of Krishna, but especially names of Krishna and Vraj, that really inspires rati. Um, Such as, and my Gurudev, he adds this, such as Radharaman, Vrajavalabh, Gopijana Vallabha. Okay, now minimize sleep. What does it say here in the Sanskrit? It says Jitta Nidra. So Jitta means conquer, right? So conquering sleep. Eat moderately. Eat moderately. Where is that? Mitta Bhuk. It's also one of the 26 qualities of a Vaishnava, right? He's Mitta Bhuk. So it means he eats moderately. So not too much, not too little. What's that verse from Bhagavad Gita? Natyashnatas. Yeah. Natyashnatas to yogosi. Na chaikantam anashnata. Na chati swapnashilasya. Naivam jagrati charjuna. I think. So this perfection in yoga cannot be achieved by one who eats too much. And also it's not achieved by one who eats too little. If you are just stuffed, then your senses become completely out of control and you become lazy. You don't want to move around if you ate too much. And then also you want to eat more. Like when you eat a lot, then you're gonna want to always eat a lot more. Like it just increases your desire to eat. It's pouring ghee on fire. But then also if you don't eat enough, you're going to be hungry and then you're just going to be thinking about eating all the time and you're going to become weak. And so we should eat moderately. Mitta bhuk. Eat a little bit though. Don't overdo it, but also don't underdo it. And then same thing goes with sleep. We did hear, like in the verse here, it says one who's conquered sleep, jitta nidra. But but also, yeah, if you don't sleep enough, then you can't concentrate your mind. Srila Bhamana Goswami Maharaj has some really nice, he'd instruct Umadiri to, maybe we can look at those. Should we look at that now? Yeah, let's do that. Let me just find, where is it? A true servant. Actually, let me finish this verse first. Finish explaining this verse first. Yeah. Okay. So minimize sleep, eat moderately, and proceed on the path of spiritual truth. What is that? Proceed on the path of spiritual. Ikshita pato. Ikshita means, I think that's that which has been seen. What does it say in the Bengali here? Ikshita pato. Darshan pat par. Ekmatra darshan pat par. Bhakta Bhagavan. Huh. Okay, so I guess this is just what I'm understanding, but like that path that has been shown by that that's been seen by those who have realized, so like guru and also shastra, so that path which has been shown by them by guru and shastra, follow that path so we don't go off track. So many instructions have been given by Sri Guru, so many instructions have been given in the scriptures, and so the path has been shown. And so now we know what to do, we know what not to do, and now traverse on that path. That's what I understand from that. Um, and do it with a peaceful mind. Prashanta, right? Is that the word? Yeah, prashanta. Prashanta and a disregard for worldly things. It's the disregard for worldly things is nirbinna. So some very practical instructions for what to do if yadi achutta bhagavati swamano nasajan. If your mind, swamano, if your mind, nasajan, is not becoming attached, is not absorbed in achutta bhagavan, then what do you do? Vilajja, without any shyness. Pated, you must chant the name. The names, namani means the names that tad rati karani, that inspire rati, that excite rati for that Achyuta Bhagavan, which means his primary names, especially names like Radharaman, Brajvallabh, Gopijana Vallabha. And you should do it naktam, diva. You should do it at nighttime and in the day, all night. Gotabhir, giving up any kind of fear. Oh wait, was that mentioned? Hey, that was missing from the translation. Yeah, it's missing from the translation. Hmm. See, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has it here. It says nirbhoy. Nirbhoy means without fear. So that means no fear of what people will think, no fear that that it's going to be a failure or not. Just give up any kind of fear and just go for it. Jitta Nidra, conquer your sleep. So, and we know that instruction from Bhagavad Gita, those who sleep too, oh, I didn't finish that, right? So, those who sleep too much or who sleep too little can never attain perfection in yoga also. What is that? Na chati swapnashilasya naivam jagrati charjuna. Yeah, those who sleep too much or too little. If you sleep too much, I did that yesterday, then you get really lethargic and lazy and it's just tamagun. That's tamagun is sleep. That's in Bhagavad Gita in like two or three different places. It mentions that sleep and laziness is tamagun. So if you sleep too much, then your mind is in tamagun and you can't focus, concentrate. You're just like that's ignorance. And so it's very important not to sleep too much. But then also it's equally important not to sleep too little because then also you can't concentrate, you can't think, you can't, and it's very unhealthy and you get all these health problems. Yeah, so you have to be, so that's Jitta Nidra and Eko. This, I don't remember seeing this in the translation either. What should Bhaktivinoda Thakur say? Huh. Okay. Well, it's not in Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's thing either. Oh, no, it is. Nirjane. Yeah, so this is missing in the translation as well. That's why it's always important to look at the Sanskrit, because lots of times translations don't have everything. So Eka. Eka, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, is nirjan. That means alone. Well, Eka means two things. It can either mean being in a secluded place and like being alone, not being around materialistic people when you chant. It can also mean being fully focused. No, but Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says here it means secluded. Yeah, so, okay. Now, nirvinna. Nirvinna means having a disregard for material things. And yeah, ikshitapato, we already saw that one. Right? Ikshitapato, following the path that has been shown by Guru and Shastra. We know what to do, what not to do, and now we must follow those instructions and move on the path that has been shown, that we see from Shastra and the words of Guru. Then Mitta Bhuk, don't eat too much, don't eat too little, eat moderately. Mitta means moderately, Bhuk, like eating. And then Prashanta, and our mind should be peaceful. We should calm our mind. We shouldn't just like let our mind think about whatever it wants to, but no, we have to calm it, focus it, maybe take some deep breaths when you chant. Take some deep breaths. Chant some. I see like a really helpful way is to offer pranam. Recite some mantras about the glories of yeah. Recite some verses about the glories of the name. Chant the Shikṣāṣṭakam. Calm your mind. Offer pranam and take some deep breaths. And now I'm getting serious. I'm pray to Gurudev, and then start chanting. Then your mind will be peaceful. But if you just pick up your bead bag or whatever is going on and you start chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, your mind won't be peaceful. Sometimes it's good to do some things to calm down your mind. Um, and and then that's it. Vilajja, without shyness. So that's a very practical verse, very helpful verse. Now let's see how Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains it. He says, Ratra dina unnidra nirvigna nirbhoy mitta bhuk prashanta nirjane chintamoy lajja tyaji krishna rati uddipaka nam ucharana kore bhakta krishna sakti kam. Hmm. Trying to understand this right here. Let's see. So ratra dinam, so in the nighttime, in the daytime, unnidra without sleeping too much, nirvigna without any obstacles, nirvigna, huh? Without any obstacles. Oh, nirboy, interesting. Without any obstruction, I think also. So continuously, yeah, continuously. I think that's without any obstruction. Nirboy without any fear. What are people going to think? Or is this going to actually work? Or any kind of fear, just go for it. Mitta bhuk, eating moderately, prashanta, in a peaceful mind, nirjane, in seclusion, um, alone. Don't just do it as a show. Look, everybody, I'm chanting. Chintamoy. and with your minds completely absorbed in it, mindfully chant. Lajja tyaji, and then giving up all shyness. Krishna rati udipakanam. Chant the names of Krishna, which are udipak, which stimulate this Krishna rati. Ucharan kore. So chant in this way, utter the names in this way. Bhakta Krishna Saktikam. I don't understand this really. Ucharan kore Krishna Bhakta Saktikam. Yeah, sorry guys. By doing this, by the calm, your desires, Krishna. This is the desire of the devotees for having a sakti attachment to Krishna. I don't know. I'll try to go through this again tomorrow when I become more clear what that means there. Okay. Let's see if my Gurudev's explanation for this verse. Let me just, here it is. Oops, I skipped this also. Let's read my Gurudev's commentary for the previous one. Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Eva Kevalam. So my Gurudev says, in Kali Yuga, Swayam Bhagavan Shri Krishna has appeared in the form of his name. Through Harinam, the whole world can be delivered. The words Harinam in this text are used 3 times to make people with mundane intelligence become fixed in chanting Harinam. The word Kevala, meaning only, is used to make it extremely clear that Gyan, Yoga, Tapasya, and other activities are to be renounced. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Anya Dharma Karma Chari. Salvation is never possible for one who disregards this instruction of the scriptures. To emphasize this, the words Nasteva, meaning no other way, are repeated 3 times at the end of the verse. And now my Gurudev's commentary on this verse that we just went through. Oh, there is no commentary. Never mind. Okay. And now, actually, I want to just look at something. Sri Harinam Chintamani gives a similar kind of instruction in chapter 12 as this verse. So if one has not achieved anurag, what do you do if you've not achieved anurag? Like this verse says, what does it say? Yadi achute bhagavati somano nasajan. What do you do in that case? If your mind is not absorbed in the name of Sri Bhagavan Achyuta, what do you do? This is what Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains in Harinam Chintamani. He says, one should count on tulsi beads, and gradually a desire will arise to increase the number. So we should increase the number when our desire arises to increase it. We shouldn't force ourselves to increase it. By carefully remembering the name and keeping count, anurag for the name will develop. As long as anurag has not appeared, one should endeavor to constantly chant the name. Okay, so what do you do if you're struggling chanting the name? You have no anurag for the name and you're not able to absorb your mind in it? Nasaja. Well, what do you do? Chant more. Chant day and night. Chant continuously. There's no other way but by making an endeavor. So if you're not doing all these things that we see in this verse, then don't complain about not being able to focus your minds when you chant. He's giving very practical instructions. It's not just going to come automatically. You need to actually put in some effort. You have to, what were all the things? You have to give up fear, conquer sleep, be in a seclusion, have disregard for material things. You have to follow the path that's been shown by Guru and Shastra, to eat moderately. You have to and make your mind calm and peaceful and chant Naktam Diva night and day. And without shyness, vilajja, chant the names that inspire rati. So and if you're not doing these things, then, well, yeah, of course your mind's not going to be absorbed in the name. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying here, as long as anurag has not appeared, one should endeavor to constantly chant the name. Actually, this is Haridas Thakur speaking, right? So and Haridas Thakur says, people are naturally attracted to sense objects. At the time when one remembers them, the internal senses become attached to them. By having a taste for other things, one becomes indifferent to the name. Even by chanting japa every day, still one's mind is not absorbed in the holy name. The mind will be in one direction, while the name will be in another direction. O abode of all good qualities, how can such a person attain any auspiciousness? O jewel of all qualities, one may complete chanting a lakh of names, 100,000 names, 64 rounds on the beads, but not even a drop of ras appears in the heart. This is the fault with this kind of inattentiveness. It is extremely difficult to remove from the heart of those who are attached to sense objects. So we have to be careful. Jatna koriba. And now here are the rules for being careful. In a short time, one can abandon sense objects through sadhu sangha. This fault is destroyed by chanting the name in a secluded place. So that's this instruction here, eka. And real seclusion means to be in the company of devotees and pure, like advanced devotees. Just like real mona, real silence is chant Krishna Katha, and real seclusion is to be only in the company of devotees. Gradually, the mind will become fixed upon Krishna Nam. Then one loses all composure by perpetually tasting Nam Ras. The Sattvata Vidhan, the method prescribed by the sadhus and by pure scriptures, states that one should reside near Tulsi, a place of Krishna's pastimes, and in the company of sadhus. Gradually, one increases his time meditating on the name, and very quickly transcends the desire for sense objects. Otherwise, one may sit in a secluded place, remembering the method of the sadhus. By covering the senses, one may fix the mind on the name. And then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Indriya Pidan Kori means covering the senses, sitting alone in a room with the door closed, or covering the eyes, nose, etc. with a cloth during sadhan. When we read this, I ordered this. Where is it? Anyways, I ordered a really good quality eye mask for chanting. Because Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says to cover the eyes and nose with a cloth during sadhan. Then swiftly one attains nishta, and then gradually ruchi, a taste for the name. Then the fault of indifference is eventually destroyed. So many practical instructions. But yeah, we have to actually put in some effort. If we're not putting in effort, we have only ourselves to blame for not having a taste in chanting now. I'm talking to myself right now. Okay, so now we come to the last verse. We only have 5 minutes left. Srimad Bhagavatam 6.3.22 states, Etavan evalokesmin pungsam dharma parasmrita bhakti yogo bhagavati tannama grahanadibhi. Only the worship of Bhagavan Sri Vasudev, performed through Nam Sankirtan, is called Bhakti Yoga. This alone is the supreme dharma for the living entities. Okay, so let's look. Etavan eva loke asmin punksam dharma para smrita. Okay. So etavan, only this. Eva means only this. And what? This bhakti yoga. So etavan, eva, only this. Loke asmin is for these all people. Pungse loke. Oh God, sorry, I'm trying to understand this. So this is meant for all people. This is the Dharma para smrita. This is known as the Dharma, as the supreme Dharma for all people. Lokesmin pungsam, for all people, every living entity, all mankind, even every species. This is the Dharma. What is it? Bhakti Yoga Bhagavati. So that's Bhakti Yoga, engaging in Bhakti Yoga, connecting ourselves in Bhakti with Bhagavan, which begins with Adi. Adi means, it begins with taking. Grahan means taking, Tan Nam, his name. So by chanting the names of Bhagavan and Adivi and so on. So, there's Kirtan and then Shravan, Smaran, Padaseva, all, but it begins with Nam Grahan. That's the topmost. And then all the other ones follow. So this alone is a supreme, let's see what it says. Only the worship of Bhagavan Sri Vasudeva performed through Nam Sankirtan is called Bhakti Yoga, and this alone is a supreme Dharma for the living entities. That's interesting. He translates Smrita in relation to Bhakti Yoga. I was thinking of it as in the Paramadharma. Let's see how Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur translates this. He says, Bhakti Yoga Krishna Nam Grahanadi Rup Paradharma Name Tar Nirnita Swarup. So, Bhakti Yoga, in the form of taking the names of Krishna, chanting Krishna's names, and so on, Adi, is known as the Paradharma, as the supreme occupation for all living entities. Tar Nirnita Swarup. This is the very definition, Nirnita, the very, let's see, Nirnita. Nirnita. This has been the ascertained truth. This is the conclusion. This is the conclusion. And yep, and this is the very conclusion of also this first chapter of Bhajana-rahasya. So I guess that's why Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur wanted to conclude this chapter with the conclusion of who spoke this verse? Etavan eva lokesmin. Let's just look up this verse really quick. I want to see the context of it, and then we'll end our program. It's always nice to see. Okay, it's Canto 6. It's Yamaraj. Yamaraj, and this is Canto 6. This is part about Ajamil, right? And so then all the demons are like, what's going on here? We thought that you were the supreme controller, and right? And then Dharmaraj, who has who has the authority to speak on what Dharma is? Like, who has a better authority to speak on that other than Dharmaraj himself, the king of Dharma, like the person Yamaraj. He is the one who's who's in charge of, like, the dharma for all living entities, and who's going off that dharma, and what they should, what their reaction should be. He is Dharmaraj. And so Dharmaraj himself, Yamaraj, he's explaining what is the Parama Dharma to his what do you say, the Yamadutas, his and so this is the final conclusion. Nobody can give a better conclusion than Dharmaraj himself on what Dharma is. And this is the final word. Devotional, here's Srila Prabhupada's translation. Devotional service, beginning with chanting of the holy name of the Lord, is the ultimate religious principle for the living entities in human society. Srila Prabhupada gives, well, it's already 8 o'clock. Oh, it's past 8 o'clock. Okay, we've got to finish now. But yeah, that's a pretty fitting last verse in Bhajana-rahasya, in this first chapter, to have the Nirmita, the final conclusion. This verse is, yeah, anyways. So tomorrow we will go through this last verse, which goes to the Kunja Bhanga Lila, the pastime of Radha and Krishna having to leave the Kunj before the sun rises. so that nobody knows that they've been out all night. So we will read that tomorrow. Yeah. Wait, we didn't look at my Gurudev's commentary. Let's just look at that. This will be short. So Bhajana-rahasya vritti. Only Nam Sankirtan is directly Bhakti Yoga. And in Kali Yuga, it is the only means by which Shri Vrajaraj Nandan can be controlled. A question may arise here. If sense enjoyment and so forth are easily attained through Nam Kirtan, why are learned persons teaching Karma Yoga? The answer is that the intelligence of Yajnavalkya, Jaimini, and other compilers of Dharma Shastras was often bewildered by Maya Devi. Their minds remained attracted to the beautiful explanations given at the time of the Rig, Yajur, and Samavedas, and they were engrossed in the various kinds of activities by which, with great difficulty, one obtains the insignificant and temporary result of attaining Swarga, the heavenly planets. The topmost dharma is Nam Kirtan, which is easily performed. However, they were unable to understand this. What Bhagavad Gita says, those whose minds who are attracted by the flowery words of the Vedas. What does it say? Anyways, yeah. Don't fall for the flowery words of the Vedas. Okay, that's our program for today. I'll end here. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Jai Shri Gurudev Ki Jai, Jai Shri Param Gurudev Ki Jai, Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai, Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai, Swapa Shaji Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai, Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopigan Ki Jai, Shri Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai, Shri Tulsi Maharani Binda Devi Ki Jai, Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya Ki Jai, Shri Gopi Jai, Shri Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Bhajana-rahasya Ki Jai, Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Jai Shri Śrī Śikṣāṣṭaka Ki Jai, Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari Ki Jai, Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Jai Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashachara Krishna Bhakti Padadevi Satyavatai Namo Namo Pancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat pranams, Champak Mataji, Prajumna Prabhu, Mantramurti Mataji, Vidyalala Sadiri, and whoever else is watching on YouTube and Facebook. Not so many people today. Also, pranams to all devotees watching in the future, like Shachi Devi, Jayadev Prabhu, Revati Devi. See you all tomorrow for our final program in this Pratam Yam Sadhan of Bhajana-rahasya. And then the day after tomorrow, when's Hera Panchami coming up? Just looking at the calendar. Oh, Hera Panchami is tomorrow. Okay, so let's read about Hera Panchami tomorrow. And then we will finish this chapter the day after tomorrow. Yeah, let's do that. In Saptami. And then the day after that, I fly back home, back to Navadvip. Actually, I think I might be staying in Mayapur. All right, cool. All right, thank you so much for joining. Is there anything anybody wants to mention before I end the stream for today? All right, see you all tomorrow. Also, Dandavat Pranams to all the other devotees. I think Raseshwari Mataji, I'm guessing, is there. Indira Mataji, I'm guessing, is there. And Rohini Nandan Prabhu, everybody else. All right, Dandavat Pranams. See you tomorrow.